The Conservative MP and chair of the Defence Select Committee, Tobias Ellwood, was off on a trip to Afghanistan to see how the country has changed since the NATO withdrawal and since the Taliban came in, where public executions are back, women and girls are refused most forms of education. But he has a different view. Take a listen to the video he put out on Twitter afterwards.
I'm here back in Helmand province in Afghanistan, courtesy of the Halo Trust, and all that's happened here since 9/11. This is a very different country indeed. It feels different now that the Taliban have returned to power.
Well, it may be hard to believe, but security has vastly improved. Corruption is down, and the opium trade has all but disappeared. Do we shout from afar and risk another era of instability, a rise in terrorism and mass migration, or re-engage? If the EU embassy can open up, so can ours. And incrementally, we can encourage the progressive changes to the economy and critically for girls' education and female workers that we all want to see.
What's the music about? I mean, there is an argument to be made about how you deal with the Taliban in Afghanistan, how this country but it doesn't need slushy tourist board music under it. There's been clearly some very strong reaction to what Mr. Ellwood has been saying, a lot of condemnation from both sides at the Atlantic. Ro Jacobi is a foreign and security policy analyst, editor-in-chief of Kabul Now and host of Kabulcast, a podcast which he established having fled from the Taliban in 1999. Thank you very much indeed for coming on the programme. So security has vastly improved, corruption has all but disappeared, and the opium trade has seemingly gone. Doing a good job, the Taliban. Morning.
Morning. Unfortunately, none of them are true. Everything's shot up. Afghanistan is not safe for its people. The group, according to a recent UN human rights report released last week, the Taliban has enacted over 50 anti-women edicts. Public flogging, executions, all those sorts of things are back. And Afghanistan is not safe. There's no security for people. What Tobias has done is just not mind-boggling or not unexpected, because he first advocated for a group to be recognized in February 2022. It didn't, surprise me what he said, but it's just the manner that he's gone about it. He just turned the video into a Taliban advocacy piece, and of course the Taliban came very quickly and appreciated what he's done and welcomed it. But it's just callous and incredibly cruel as well on the people of Afghanistan, who've been suffering enormously. I mean, I talk to people every day because that's my job. Yeah. And the image that I get is horrendous. And the fact that we, and given that he, in his position as the chair of the hugely influential Defence Select Committee, do that, I'm really gobsmacked.
Do you think the fact that he's done it, and perhaps it's the manner in which it's done as opposed to some of the substance too, means that he can continue in that role?
Well, it's both the manner and the substance. There's nothing on the substance of what he said. If you're a Westerner going into Afghanistan, especially being a high-profile politician going to Afghanistan, you'll of course be afforded a certain level of security by the group, and then you're escorted around, given a rosy picture of what they're doing. But you come back without realizing what is really happening, because you've been shielded from all the nasty things that's going around you. But it is his position. If he was a lay member of parliament, one could say, there's a stupid one among them. But, he comes from a position of great influence. He's got a name recognition. He's got seniority within his party and, of course, within the British security and political establishment. So there are two things that is wrong here. One is that, from the moral and ethical point of view, it's grossly not just inappropriate but callous. But on security implications of doing something for the Taliban is enormous as well. There's a recent report, the UN Security Council report, which says the group has kept close ties with regional terrorist groups, including the Pakistani Taliban, who's wreaking havoc across Pakistan at the moment.
And it's fair to say that we spent 20 years fighting them. The whole point of the mission was to keep them out of power because we didn't like them. Ro, thank you very much indeed. Ro Jacobi, foreign and security policy analyst, editor-in-chief of Kabul Now. The podcast is called Kabulcast. I mean, I remember when the Chief of the Defence Staff, when all of this was happening and the NATO withdrawal was happening, I remember the then Chief of the Defence Staff going on the television and saying, maybe the Taliban have changed. This is a different organisation to the one that we tried to push out 20 years ago, or the one that we kept out of power for 20 years, fought and died for in Afghanistan. They're a different organisation. They're going to be more progressive, he said. And you heard Tobias Ellwood use that word there, that we can, with engaging with the Taliban, try and push for the, quotes, progressive change that we want to see in Afghanistan when it comes to women's rights. And you're thinking, these people have had the same worldview for a millennia. With the greatest of respect to Mr. Ellwood, he is not going to start changing that. Their view on women has been their view on women since the dawn of time, pretty much. Who are we to think we can go about changing their mindset to make them more like us? And why would we think that they're doing a better job at running the country than anyone else would be doing when public executions are increasing and women and girls are prevented from any form of education? It's completely crazy. Paul in Carmarthenshire says, Tom, that advert sounds like a parody that you'd see on a sketch show. Here's Kate in Ashstead. Tom, listening to the bile that Tobias Ellwood has spewed out makes me seriously wonder if he's actually fit for office. I'm ashamed to have him as a countryman, says Kate. Blimey. Might put some of that to Grant Shapps, Secretary of State for Energy Security, when he joins us in the next few moments. I noticed that your colleague Tobias Ellwood has been going to Helmand province in Afghanistan and saying what a great job the Taliban has been doing, that security is much improved, that corruption has all but disappeared, that we should start to establish relations with the Taliban. Should we?
Well, look, also, I'm pretty sure it's the case that girls can't go to school, that their rights aren't respected. I deal with the world as it is, and I understand that we can't always have the organizations we want running countries, but I have to say I don't think we want to be close partners with the kind of people who do not let women and girls be educated.